Hey everyone, I know you're not used to hearing from me first, but bear with me for a few minutes. I come here with intention. We're at the very end of 2024, the very last stretch of this year, and there's been something that has been on my mind that I have sadly, consciously been silent about for 7 months at this point, and I'm sick of my own silence, uh, which I think has been unfair of me. It's been 7 months without Om, and because of the origin of this podcast, then Las Blancas wouldn't exist without him. As Taylor Swift once said, there wouldn't be this if it hadn't been you. So I think it's only fair that we have a chat about mental health sometimes. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to talk about shame, something that's not really talked about enough, and it's ironic because shame really feeds off of you not talking about it. So there are two kinds of shame. The good kind that teaches you how to do better. It teaches you morals whenever you step out of the line of integrity. In its core, it teaches us to be better. However, there's a bad kind called toxic shame, and it's as bad as it sounds. It doesn't just tell you that you did something bad, it makes you believe that you're a bad person, and tells you that you don't have any integrity at all, and that you're rotten at your core. It makes you ashamed of yourself, not just your actions. So you create this false persona of yourself. You put on a mask whenever you step outside because, God forbid, anyone sees your corrupted, rotten self. Woo, yeah. This act exhausts a person, takes up way too much energy for you to keep doing it, but you do. And to make up for it, to recharge, uh whenever you take that weight of the mask off, you recharge by doing some of the most antisocial activities, you know, to take your mind off the matter. And it's usually some kind of obsessions. These obsessions can turn into addictions, and whether it's a productive one, like, reading or crocheting 24/7, locked in your room, or on the other hand, harmful one, like social media or even substances. This all can lead to addictions, and whatever kind of an addiction, between these two, it's bad for you because it makes your comfort zone like narrower to the point that you can only ever live in isolation, that you're only ever comfortable with yourself. So you push everyone away, you isolate yourself, you lose people. Like, it's pretty much inevitable. If you stop showing up for yourself, you stop showing up for others. And it's not something that you can just define so easily, to say, oh, this is toxic shame, just snap out of it. It took me 3 years to define it, put a name on it, to put a name on my main, like, root cause of shame, which is at this point like 4 years old. I've lost people too. I lost my best friend. She told me, Kanita, you're ashamed. 1 year into the process, and kind of sort of refused to believe her back then. So we grew apart. I lost my best friend, and I lost a lot of people since. I kept losing them, including this year, and it's all due to these growing layers of shame. I know I'm so lucky that now I have people, three amazing people, and that have stuck by my side and have really refused to let me push them away. And trust me, I really tried to do it. So yeah, I'm eternally grateful for these people that have actually not cared about the root reasons of me pushing them away. That the important thing was that they wouldn't let me. And there have been so many movements with these stacks and stacks of shame layers. And even though my root cause of shame has been like fading away for the past 3 months, which by the way took a life changing decision and blurting it out to a bunch of strangers, there are so many layers that haven't even been touched, by fading away of this root cause. Some of them are still very, very difficult like, to get rid of. They're still very, very strong, even though some of them are months old, some maybe even years old. And the strongest ones are those that include silence, and especially silence that made me see myself as a traitor, that I've betrayed Om by staying silent on this matter and sort of refusing to speak in the pod back in May, even. And I don't think that by talking about this here and now will do anything to this layer of shame. This is not why I'm here. I think that the fact that there hasn't been a day that passed, like rarely an hour in a day, even without him on my mind, even in my dreams sometimes, you know, that made me sort of turn this message into a warning. I guess it's sort of a warning I'm issuing on silence. Don't stay silent and don't encourage others to stay silent. First and foremost, if you get a piece of advice that goes something like, if you get asked about this, it's better if you change the subject and spare yourself the embarrassment of answering this question. So don't take this advice. Don't listen to it. Answer the questions. Say it out loud. Say your shame. Don't let it internalize. Don't let it become your identity, because it really sticks with your identity if you let it. So, don't stay silent is my point. So take care, be gentler to people, but be gentle to yourself first and foremost. Take care of your people, take care of your close circle. But if you don't have the strength or energy, then take care of yourself. Be kinder to yourself. And there's no shame in that, really. I know it's ironic coming from me, but I mean it. Like the things I've told myself over the years, I would never say or think about another person. And I know it's not easier said than done, that to be kinder to yourself, but it needed to be said. And I hope these words reach someone, that you take me up on this, on not staying silent, because shared joy is a double joy, but shared sorrow is half a sorrow, as per a Swedish proverb. So, yeah, thank you for listening.
Hello and welcome to Las Blancas Podcast.
I'm your host, Yash Thakur, and we are back with another episode of Las Blancas. This time we will be discussing Real Madrid's game against Villarreal in the Copa de la Reina, our final game of 2024. The calendar year is about to end. This is the last podcast of 2024. Uh, so yeah, I mean it's been a year. It's been some year. To be honest, we have had a great summer. The season is almost now halfway through. Wouldn't say halfway, but we are deep into the season now. There are a lot of things to look forward to in 2025 as well. But yeah, to all the listeners, we are recording this slightly late. So to everybody watching, to everybody listening, I hope you guys had a very good Christmas, and we wish you a very happy New Year. So yeah, I mean, let's get into the game. We have a couple of other points as well to talk beyond just the football game against Villarreal that we ended up winning 2-0. So yeah, we'll get into all of that, and as always, to do all of that, I have got Kanita with me. Kanita, how are you today?
Yes, we are recording in latest after Christmas. Just put it on and wish you all happy holidays. So if you're watching on this YouTube, you'll see me with a hat. For you who are listening, I have a Christmas hat on. So yeah, I'm in the jolly spirit of this year ending. So yeah, I mean it's been an interesting year. The second half better, after the summer transfers and all. So yeah, it's been wild. And we had a cup game, the first cup game of the season, and a win as the last game of 2024. And what a way to close this year. And yeah, I mean, I'm a-okay after this game, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, we thought of recording this earlier, but once again, our schedules could not match, and with the holidays coming up, we thought it would be nice to do it after that. So yeah, here we are, and yeah, I guess let's get into it. Let's start by looking at the lineup. So it was a knockout game basically in the Copa de la Reina, and we were up against Villarreal away from home. So let's start by talking about the lineups first. Yeah, so I mean, I mean, as expected, there was a bit of rotation. There was uh, players who don't normally would start a game were here, and one player who has basically been a mainstay of all of our lineup was finally given her rest. She was asked to enjoy her holidays for one half at least. So yeah, let's start by talking about the lineup. So it was Mylene in goal, Antonia as the right back, Maria Mendes and Lakrar as the centre back partnership, with this time Oihane as the left back and not Olga, which is not the usual thing. Olga is always there, and I always read it as Olga as always as the left back, but this time it wasn't the case. Oihane started at left back. Olga got her well-deserved rest. A midfield double pivot of Sandy Toletti and Teresa, and a front four. Now, this front four was proper playing their first game together as a unit. I think it was Atenea, Naomi Feller, Alba Redondo, and Eva Navarro as the front four. So pretty interesting. I mean, you expected this sort of a rotated lineup in this game, and I was completely fine with it. It was in no way a weak lineup or anything. So I was quite happy. It was good to once again see how Antonia sort of does as the right back, because as you must have known if you've been listening to us, that I personally believe that Antonia is better as a right center back than a right back. So yeah, I mean, it was going to be interesting. Mylene as well. She doesn't get much game time with Misa being ever present. So it was good for her to get some game time in her belt as well. And yeah, overall, I don't have many complaints about this lineup. I think this is something that I completely expected from this game, such lineup after that important Chelsea game. So I was completely fine. What were your thoughts when you saw the lineup?
Yeah, definitely rotations like this was really expected because we played Chelsea on Tuesday night and we played Villarreal on Friday night. It's literally in 72 hours because both games started at 7 p.m. And yeah, it was wild. But yeah, I mean, I fully expected Chavez to start. I mean, it's a cup game. It's basically standard procedure to play your second goalkeeper, and especially in the year early stages of the cup. And yeah, I mean, I saw the lineup and I saw, oh my God, Olga is not there, and I thought, oh my God, yeah, she's not going to be able to say Olga is always. Yeah, we're missing this part. But yeah, don't worry. She got on in 67th minute. So she got 67 minutes.
Yeah,
But yeah, and the rest, I mean, yeah, it's cool. I mean, normal. Lacrado got subbed off. So when you mentioned Antonia, no, well, she started as a right back, right? And then when Lacra got injured, Antonia went to the right center back, which you have been talking about. She's more of a right center back than a right back, actually. So yeah, we got to see bit of that. Unfortunately, in very unfortunate situation. And I don't know anything about Lacra. I mean, at this point, it's been a week since the game, but yeah, still know nothing. I hope this will be resolved until the game, next game. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, because Lakra's situation has been a tricky one as well. Like, she picked up an injury, then she wasn't subbed off, then she hasn't been managed properly in the last few games, and I just hope that it's nothing serious because, we I don't think we have a lot of off days after the new year. Like, I think we are immediately back in action
Yeah,
within a
on the
week.
5th. Yeah.
Yeah, we are immediately back in action in inside a week the new year. So, and it's also a tricky fixture. We are going to be playing Atletico. I think when once we are back, and it's going to be tricky. We are going to be playing Atletico, and then we are going to be playing Levante as well for the postponed game. So it's all as soon as the year begins. I think the games will come in thick and fast once again. So that's going to be interesting about how we manage Lakdar because she has been one of the signings of the season across the league. I would say and she has been a backbone of our defense as well. So, uh, hopefully she's fine. But I think in we this game was about Teresa, right? Like, final goal of 2024, that banger from her, right? That encapsulates this whole sort of year really, really, really well, I feel, because struggling against the side, then somebody comes up, steps up with an individual piece of brilliance, and she scores from over 40 yards out. Notices that the goalkeeper is off the line, and she just takes a chance. uh, so yeah, let's start by talking about the goals. We scored two, one in each half. Interestingly, one in 31st minute and the other in 62nd minute. So and I think both the goals you have to give credit to Teresa. Like, she created the first one with a brilliant dribble to sort of carry the ball forward, and then notice that run from Alba Redondo and played behind the back line for her to finish. And then the second one was just individual brilliance. And on the pitch, she was the captain in this game, right? Like, she was captaining the side. So playing as a captain, she scores and she assists. That's a really good sign. That's a really positive sign for somebody who's taking up responsibility, who's taking up the initiative. And I think her overall game on the ball, while passing with her passing, with her distribution, was also quite solid. Defensively, Villarreal did not do much. So we did not have all those moments. I think even our defenders were pretty chilled out. Most of the games there weren't much threat, I think, throughout the game. But yeah, what did you make of Teresa's performance? With her goal and her assist and the overall performance.
Yeah, yeah, as you said, she definitely created that first goal. And listen, both goals came from recoveries. I mean, in the
Yeah,
second goal she recovered and just shot it, and the first goal she also well, yeah, it was a miss an action, but she recovered the ball, and everything uh, everything went through her. But yeah, I noticed throughout the game, so we had out practically closed us a lot because they were in this like low block and when five at the back, like mostly like 5-4-1, and we didn't really have many options because we like to go wide, and obviously we couldn't do that with the idea we had. We should have made like some quick triangles on the side, but we didn't do that. However, whenever we would go back to Tere, she would always find other solutions. So we would pass the ball around, see that there's no answer, then we would pass back to her, and then she would dictate on. Usually, she would just send the ball to the other side, and it was just square one through. Okay, Tere, you start with the idea and we'll follow you. I've I've seen that a lot this game. So yeah, she was there a lot to basically, yeah, dictate what how the game will go. Her robberies were ever present in this game as well, and her goal, the two goals were her robberies as well. So I mean, it encapsulates what Tere does very well. And yeah, even though this game was so frustrating to watch, so annoying, but Villarreal games are very famous for being very frustrating. I know that like 2 years ago we played them in the cup as well. We went to extra time, if you remember. It was so annoying, so frustrating. They do this slow block, and we don't have it. 2 years later, still the same thing. But through Tere, we got two goals. So yeah.
It's very interesting you bring this up, and I think I know why we sort of struggled as well in this game. I think, first of all, the front four was a new front four unit, and if you look at the profiles as well, you've got Eva Navarro who likes to stick out wide, so a wide creator. You have Atenea who likes to stick out wide, another wide creator. You have got Naomi Feller, probably, the best way to classify her is a runner in behind. And you have got Alba Redondo as the number 10. Like, she's not a creator. Yeah, she has done decently while playing there the last time, but she's not a creator. She's not a player that is nimble footed, that is, able to string these through balls in behind or something. She herself is a runner. So we have two runners and two wide creators with a midfield of Tere, who likes to sit deep and orchestrate play, and Toletti, who is a box to box player, right? So we don't really have on ball creators in this game, like who can create from half spaces, who can create from central areas. We have got two players who can do that in this squad. That's Linda Caicedo and Caroline Weir. And it's okay, both were on the bench, but this is one of the reasons why we actually struggled, because breaking down a back five, you either need that quick switch of sides, that you mentioned about Tere trying to do, but that did not work out, or you need excellent quality through the in those half spaces with sort of dynamism between those players to pick those ball up and play it in behind and everything. And the two players who are capable of doing that, who are capable of operating in those narrow spaces in between the lines and finding their targets, were on the bench. So obviously we struggled, and I've got a screenshot here to talk about Villarreal shape and how they were trying to play in this game, which I found very sort of, I mean, it is their style of play. And I think in this game, if we had uh, Linda Caicedo and Caroline Weir, we wouldn't have sort of struggled as much. Now, this is a screenshot from the sequence that led to our goal, right? So it's very clear. Like, I don't even have to draw, but I'll just draw it for the sake of explaining it. So herein we have Villarreal's backline. One, two, three, and four. And here we have the fifth player, right? So this is their back five that I was talking about. And this is their midfield line of four. Right? I'm not going to connect it because, okay, I'll do actually, because I think it is easier to explain. So this and this. Now, the thing here is, this is a lone striker who isn't bothered, and isn't involved in anything that they were sort of doing at the back. But yeah, look at this. Now here we have two players, right? I'll highlight them. This is Alba Redondo. This is Naomi Pillay. Right now, either both of them have dropped off here of the back line. And breaking down a back five and a line of four like this, that is very compact. And if you watch this sequence, if you go back, you have the timestamp. Unfortunately, I cannot share the we cannot share the video because it runs the risk of copyright and all. But if you go to this timestamp and if you watch the whole sequence, the sequence begins from our goalkeeper, and it starts immediately. Villarreal captain is signaling to fall back. They're not concerned. They did not press us. They did not do anything remotely active on this in the game. They were happy to hold back. They were happy to sit back, and they were happy to sit deep. And this is what they were trying to do. So Villarreal were signaling to fall back as soon as our sequence began, and Toletti is carrying the ball forward initially. Then she tries to look for a sort of a passing option, but she could not find any. Both the players here in between the lines are being sort of blocked or being closely followed by one or two multiple sort of Villarreal players. So it's difficult to find those passing lanes here. So what Toletti ends up doing is passing it sideways to Tere. And if you notice in that sequence, Toletti is signaling to Alba Redondo to either come close to her or go back. You know, the reason for that is if Alba Redondo comes close, there is a possibility that one of the Villarreal player might follow her, and that will disrupt their shape a little. And Naomi Feller can maybe make the run in behind at that time and create more space or create that passing option. That does not happen. If she pushes back, then she can at least pin this line back. At the moment, this line is under no sort of threat. The wide player, if the ball even goes to that position, they can easily close that out, because if you go wide, you only have one sort of option. You can only move in one direction. You can go forward or you can come inside. So it becomes easier to defend. But when you receive in this central areas, you can actually move the ball in whatever direction you want. You can play it left, you can play it right, you can play it through the middle, or whatever you want to do. It opens up a lot of avenues. But when you go wide, it restricts you a little. So they were happy to allow us to move the ball in the wide areas, because they knew that they had the central areas, central zones packed with three defenders and a line of four also dropping deep. So they weren't concerned about it. And I think this situation particularly explains why we were struggling. In these situations, if we had Brune and Caroline Weir, I would tell you what the positioning would be. And if we had Linda Caicedo as well in this situation, Linda would be operating somewhere here, right? And one of these two positions would be taken up by Caroline Weir, and Brune would be somewhere here. Brune would be keeping this back line consistently focused on her. Linda Caicedo will be offering as the another option, passing between the lines. Weir would be the other option on the other half spaces. So that would create a lot of options and a lot of problems, sort of a lot of situations to monitor for the Villarreal backline. Uh, all the while, Senior Brune is on their shoulder, just waiting for them to step up and for her to make that run. So this is a situation. I'm not unhappy with any of the players here. Let me just say it's just different interpretation of the role. And I think in a game, we came into this game after that Chelsea game where Chelsea were proactive. They were trying to press us, and we were able to beat them. But what do you do against a side that isn't interested in doing that? And I think we found out in this game that if this is the personnel that we go with, we are probably going to struggle breaking down a back five. And then, that is why creators like Weir and Linda Caicedo are so valuable to this team. So, yeah, I mean, this is a situation. in the end, we ended up creating the goal. Here, we end up losing the ball in the sequence early. We ended up creating the goal because Tere just picked the ball up and dribbled past two players. And I think if nothing works, that is how you are going to break lines, because in this situation, it is very difficult to break lines. You can play it wide, but that is not really breaking any lines, because that would just leave Villarreal defenders to gang up on Eva Navarro or whoever the wide player is on the flank. So, that that doesn't really help. So breaking the lines in these scenarios, when you don't have uh, options in between the lines that are that good, I think Tere, individual players carrying the ball and dribbling and breaking past those defensive lines is the only option, and that is what happened here. And then Tere picked up Redondo in behind, and then she scored. So yeah, I mean, that is what I wanted to sort of explain in this scenario, and why we struggled, and what could have been the solution. The solution was pretty simple. It was on our bench, and we just decided not to use them in this game, which is completely fair decision, I would say. So I'm not unhappy or complaining. It was just an interesting situation to note, and to showcase how we would probably struggle against a back five. So do you want to add anything to this, Kanita? I know you were talking about you having the same sort of screenshot from this sequence, highlighting how Villarreal were in the back five.
Yeah, I have one from like 15 seconds later. Okay, so let me just upload it. Okay, so this literally 15 seconds later, right? So this is like right before we'd recover, well, before Teta would get the ball. So this is okay, just this is Teta here, right? So
Yeah,
what we have here, obviously, this whole side is empty at this point. Now it would be stupid to go here, right? So what we create is there were like I think two passes between these two players. So this is yeah, Toletti and yeah, one more player. So they pass around, and then you have
I
Redondo
think that
here
is
who
I
goes
think that is
inside here. And look, so because she's here and a lot of Villarreal players are around her, but they're not in immediate distance from her. When she gets the ball from Doletti, okay, I am changing these colors left and right. So when she gets the ball here, okay, so she sends the ball here, right? And she gets the ball. I will now show you screenshot number 2. So this is what happens. This is Redondo with the ball. The Villarreal players are all around her, so she ruined 3 of their players. And now she's free to pass to Tere. And this was, I think, the only way we could have done something. And these passes were quick between our players, right? So so it was okay. So this is Oyane. We have Mendes here. So we have a few of our players passing back and forth to each other quickly in this few like 4 or 5 seconds before passing to Redondo and then passing to Tere, and she just goes wee and passes, she passed to Alba Redonda. So yeah, it's a bit a mess of a drawing here, but I think that this is the only way. I mean, listen, Redondo here passes, and then this Villarreal player gets the ball.
Yeah, we lose the ball here,
Yeah, we
and
lose the ball. However,
the thing is, she isn't comfortable playing her with her back
yeah,
to goal or under pressure. So that is what I was talking.
yeah,
In this situation, Weir would have handled it. Uh,
yeah.
Linda Caicedo would have handled it and probably beaten that pressure, or made use of that pressure to create another space, right? But Redondo cannot do that. And the player that you earlier pointed out, for Toletti and passes between that player, that is Oyane. Oyane
Yeah,
was
Oyana.
operating. Oyane
Mm.
was operating from the half spaces a lot on that left hand side because nobody else was. That is the thing. Like usually when Weir and Linda Caicedo are playing, one of them occupies either half spaces. Weir probably goes to the right hand side if Linda is playing on the left, and sometimes they switch sides as well. So here there was nobody operating on that in that half space because Atenea likes to stick wide. Eva Navarro likes to stick wide. So it had to be a fullback trying to do it. And again, not a great
Yeah.
option to pass under pressure when closed down. So that is what, like, it was a case of uh roles being filled by players who are not comfortable doing those things that we required in order to break a back five. It's fine, I guess. So yeah, this was the situation. We struggled to break down the back five, but we ended up winning the game because individual quality at the end reigns supreme. And in this game, I wouldn't even complain about us getting found out about it. I think if we were trailing or if we were in a nil-nil situation until 70th minute, I'm pretty sure Linda Caicedo and Callum Weir both would have come on, and I think we would have broken the back five in like 10-15 minutes. Because of what they bring to the field. Because I don't particularly think Villarreal were executing their back five that well. It was just that it was quite easy to block our chances and block our patterns of play because the players receiving in between the lines were not exactly comfortable doing that and playing with their back to goal. So, that is fine. I guess we can put this behind us. We can enjoy that golazo from Tere in the second half and call it a day for once in this game, I think. So yeah, I mean, I think that is okay for this game. Let's just select our player of the game, I guess. I think it has to be unanimous decision for Tere. I don't know. Do you beg to differ?
No, I do not. Tere MVP.
Yes, Tere captain, Tere MVP. I think it was a really good way for her to sort of cap this year. And, it's not been a sort of an easy year for her because, despite her strong performances with both club and country, whenever she has played, she hasn't actually like you cannot call her a starter or a player that is the first name on the team sheet. But whenever she has been called upon, I think she has showcased her qualities quite well. And this this game, as a captain, scoring and assisting both the goals, I think is a great way to cap that season off for her, that calendar year off for her. And hopefully she plays a more prominent part in the second half or the business end of the season because we have got Super Cup coming up. We've got Copa de la Reina, the next rounds coming up. We have got the Champions League next rounds coming up. So, a deep run in all of these competitions would be the least that we should be expecting. I think that is where the bar should be, a very deep run in the Copa de la Reina, a very deep run in the Champions League, and maybe try to win the Super Cup. Because speaking of the Super Cup, we have the draws with us as well. So the four participating teams are Barcelona, Atletico, Real Madrid, and Real Sociedad. And by some weird luck
It wasn't
in a
luck. It
draw,
wasn't a draw. They just
okay.
set the opponents. I don't know. I don't know the logic. They just okay. You play this.
So whatever the thing is, however they decided, I think the somehow for the first time in a draw where both in a situation where both Barcelona and Real Madrid were present together, we have not managed to pick out Barcelona, we will be facing Real Sociedad in the semifinals, and then the winner of probably Barcelona and Atletico Madrid in the finals. Hopefully, we get to the finals, and hopefully, we are contesting for our first trophy by the end of January. That will be the most ideal situation, and hopefully, we can somehow win our first trophy in 2025, because it's about time we get something. 2024 was a year of major heartbreak in that regard, where I won't even mention that game, but
It
we
was
came this
2023.
close. Was it 2023?
Yeah, the cup.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yes, May
See,
2023.
the trauma has actually completely taken away any sense of time for me. That that trauma is so fresh that I thought it was still 2024.
What fair?
Oh,
Fair.
yeah. Well, we came this close to a trophy and we weren't able to win it. Hopefully, 2025 brings a different fortune, and things turn around this time. So yeah, I mean, as the new year begins, we have two big games against Atletico Madrid and Levante back to back. Then we have a trophy to compete for in Jan as well. So a lot to look forward to. And as we are speaking of that, another thing to look forward to is probably the winter transfer window. And I think a piece of business that we have already done seems to be like we have signed a Brazilian left back Yasmin from Corinthians. As we are recording this, it has been announced that she will be leaving the club. So it looks likely that we will announce her in the coming days, maybe before our first game back. So something to look forward to. As soon as that news drops, we will be recording a pod discussing about her and what she would bring and how she would add competition to that back spot, which Olga has been covering all alone, uh, all along. So it will be good to have a proper left back backup. She was with the Brazilian squad that made it to the finals in the Olympic Games in 2024. They lost to USA, but she was one of the players to assist one of the goals against Spain in the semifinals as well. We will be bringing you guys a detailed breakdown as soon as the news is confirmed. At the moment, it's obviously still a rumor, but it is looking likely that she will be headed to the Spanish capital. So let's wait
Mm.
for it, I guess. Anything to add, Kanita? Anything that you would like to touch up upon?
Yeah, it was so weird when we found out that we would play Real Sociedad in the semifinals of the Super Cup. Yeah, obviously, I was shocked, as we all are perplexed. But we're like, so the three Super Cups we played, right, was all against Barcelona. Only one, well, the last one was bad in 2024. The other two, the first two we played were very good, and the second one we even went to this extra time. So I know that two of us like commented, well, what if? What if we win in the final? If we go to the final and we
Yeah,
win, I mean, it's extra motivation. So, guys, we always have hope. I hope. I will hold on to this hope. I just wish this isn't crushed
yeah.
so easily.
I mean, it is the hope that kills you at the end. I think, and it would be wrong to sort of stop hoping. You have to believe in this team. You have to believe in these players that they are capable of delivering a trophy, and I hope they do. So also, like for the Champions League, I don't know if we discussed it, but the pots are out. So I mean, the pots are basically seeded and unseeded. So we are obviously in the unseeded pot, and the four teams in the seeded pot are Lyon, Chelsea, Barcelona, and Arsenal. So which team would you like to face in the next rounds?
Um, none. But the most, the if I had to choose, it's Arsenal. But I know we'll get Barcelona. Or Chelsea. Might
Yeah,
have
see,
get Chelsea again.
if we avoid Barcelona in two straight draws of a cup competition, I would take that as a sign from God that our fortunes are changing or something.
Yeah,
I don't know at this point, but it looks likely. I
like
mean, I don't know.
2025. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think a better test for us at this point, given what we have seen in the season, would be to go up against Arsenal. I think that would give us the best chance of sort of qualifying to the next round. Not that Arsenal is an easy opponent, but given where we stand at the moment in terms of our tactical identity and where Arsenal did struggle before with Jonas. Now with Rene, they look like a different side. They have found themselves. So now they are playing some good football. They are scoring goals once again. So it could be tricky, but I think it would be the next best test for us in order to see where we stand. So yeah, I mean, it will be interesting. But in all honesty, I think we are going to pull off Barcelona. So I don't
Yeah.
know. So we'll see about that. So once again, another thing to look forward to in 2025. And I hope to everyone listening and to everyone watching, I hope the holiday season is nice to you. It is the period of time where a lot of people feel um, lonely as well. So I hope you guys have good people around you. You guys have your family around you, and also keep close with your friends who you think might be alone during this period, because being alone during the festive period is not easy. And yeah, I mean, just look after each other. I hope the next year brings everyone a lot of good fortune, good health for you and your loved ones. So yeah, we will see you guys in 2025, hopefully, unless Real Madrid decide to announce Yasmin tomorrow and we'll have to record another pod in 2024. But in all likelihood, this is the last pod of 2024, and we will see you guys next year. Happy holidays and happy new year. Until next time, Hala Madrid.
Happy holidays and a la Madrid.